guys, welcome and welcome back. My name is Raquelle, and as you saw by the title of the video, today we're going to be talking about how to contour your face and how to highlight your face. Now, we are in 2020, so this is a pretty recent update from tidbits, things that I've learned throughout the years from being at Sephora, from working professionally as a makeup artist, and knowing everyone's face shapes, skin textures, and skin tones, all that jazz. I feel like I have a little bit of knowledge to help y'all out moving into the new year. And we're just gonna go and dive right into this how-to. So I already went ahead and did the pleasure of doing my brows and foundation off camera. If you guys want individual like how-tos, how to do your eyebrows in 2020, how I do my foundation with dark spots and sometimes textured skin, let me know down below in the comments. Leave me a comment. I definitely will make the how-tos if you guys want to see. I really think that it's actually needed, so if you want to see it, I'll be more than willing to film it. But all right, let's go ahead and jump in. So highlighting and contouring. So I just feel like everyone that I speak to who has questions about highlighting and contouring kind of looks at it as like a foreign language or geometry or chemistry, you know, just something super hard. And it's kind of fairly easy if you have the right knowledge and how to do it. So first and foremost, I always put down my foundation. Some people like to highlight underneath or contour before putting on their foundation. That is not the way that I'm going to be teaching. So if you don't want to know, then you don't have to watch. But this is how I do my foundation. So I always start out with a concealer, and the concealer is going to have to be about 2 shades lighter than your skin if you want the dramatic highlighted effect. If you just want a very everyday look, then you're gonna want a concealer shade that's just 1 tone lighter than your skin. So the concealer that I'm going to be using today is going to be the Huda Beauty Overachiever concealer, and this is in the shade Toasted Almond. This is about 2.5 shades lighter after it dries down, but I really like the concealer because it stays put, and I set it and it just stays all day, and that's really important. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this to my face. I know you probably see people do the huge triangles and then they just put so much product underneath their eyes that it blends out, and that is not what we want. What we want is to bring forth the features of your face that you want highlighted. So we concentrate the concealer underneath our eyes, first of all, to conceal dark circles and to give the airbrush effect of the under eye. But you don't need that much. So however much you think you need, you don't need that much. As you can see, this is how I apply it. You can use lines. If you follow me on Instagram, you see I can use lines, but it's all about how you blend it out. And so I always highlight my chin because we want to bring forth the chin. We don't want 2 chins, then we hide the double chin. That's how you contour, you hide the double chin. For my nose shape, I don't have a prominent stem to my nose, so I have to create one. So that's why I put the concealer down the bridge of my nose and then my forehead, because I want to bring forth my forehead. And I don't have too much to bring forth because I have a wig on, but like if I was wearing my regular hairline, I have a bigger forehead, so I would definitely put more product. But we just go ahead and put a little bit of concealer right here in between the eyebrows and create a triangle. Whether it be with lines, whether it's like a precise triangle, we just want to put it in those areas. So there's a couple of ways. Now some people like to contour and then put the highlight underneath the contour just to liven it up a little bit. I don't tend to do that. I might place some setting powder there, but I just feel like it's way too highlighted, and for my face shape, I don't really have like a severe double chin or a wider face. If you do have a wider face, that is an extra step that you'd be able to take, but for my case, I don't need to do that. I'm just going to take my beauty blender, and I did blend out my foundation with this, so there's a little bit of product on it. But taking the pointed side, what I'm going to do is start focusing the concealer. This is a very, very thick, opaque concealer. I just want to have this triangle right here. We don't want to go out too much further than that. We want to start building it right here and keep it in place because these are the places that we want it to be. So then I start dragging it in towards the tear duct and down the side of my nose. Now I put it down the side of my nose because I'm literally going to create the nose shape that I want. And then we just blend it. That's why you don't want so much product, because if you have way too much product, then it's going to just keep blending, and that is going to go against everything we're trying to do. We're going to just be whitening our face, and that is not the goal for highlighting. So as you can see, it's just a very, very concentrated area. Now the extra that I have on my sponge, or if you had extra on your sponge, you can use a blending sponge. You could use you can use a concealer brush. I personally like the airbrush effect that the Beauty Blender gives me, and I just use the rest of that and I bring that into my smile lines. You don't have to do this step, but for me, I have I'm starting to get smile lines, so I like to conceal those. And I'm just going to follow suit with the other eye. Now for contouring, I'm going to go ahead and pick up my Fenty Beauty Matchstick, and this is in the shade Espresso. You're always going to want to go for a darker color, because what contouring is creating shadows to hide the places on your face that you would like to be hidden or like to be slenderized. So that's why we go darker. This is about 3 or 4 shades darker than my skin tone. Probably didn't need to go that dark, but I got this and I just like the way it works. You do have to know how to work with your contour. So I'm sure you've seen videos where people put the highlight on and put the contour and just blend it all together. I find that that just creates a mess for my face. I like to do the steps separately so I can really blend out and place the products where they need to stay, rather than blending everything into one and just creating a mess that I have to clean up later. So this is the way that I literally have found it to work perfectly on every skin tone, every skin texture. This is just literally an infallible way to highlight and contour for me. So this is a thicker stick, and it needs to be warmed up with something. You can either rub it on the back of your hand, you can use a sponge, something just to warm the product up. What I'm doing is I'm just going to be pulling the product on my brush and going to be applying this to my face. Now this is just a flat foundation brush. You can use any type of flat brush to pick up the product. If you didn't want to use a stick contour, you can also use a darker foundation. You can also use a darker concealer. I'm actually going to show you how to use both. This is pulling from a stick contour. Now, everybody's face shape is different, so I could tell you how to contour one way and then you could end up looking different because you have an oval face or you have a square face. But for my face, I have a heart-shaped face. This is how I like to do. So for me, you're not going to want to go, you don't want to start your contour right here, because it's just going to blend down and it's just going to be a mess and not create any type of shape that would be flattering for your face. So for me, I always start a little bit higher. This is where my cheekbone starts. I go a little bit before that and then I pull down in a diagonal form, as you can see. And this just complements my face shape. And then I start to conceal underneath my chin, because it's a little bit double back there. It's not too bad right now, but we're working on it. It's important to go directly under that, because you don't want the dark, harsh, strong contour on your face that you'll be unable to blend out. So then after I put that on my face, then I just start working it in with the brush, intensifying it. Since I do have a wig on, I don't need to contour so much. But what you would do is kind of just follow that same outline. If you have a larger forehead, you're going to want to minimize that with a contour. Be mindful not to bring this all the way down to your lip. You're going to stop it about right here, just to give that good angle. So now that I've set everything down, what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm just going to go ahead and blend this up, because we don't want to pull the contour down. That is going to go against the shape that we're trying to create. And then for the forehead, you're going to pull it back into the hairline. We go behind the ear and we blend down. And blend like the dickens, because you don't want that, I'm telling you, you don't want that severe, harsh line. Everybody be looking at you like, this girl did not blend out her contour, Lord. Alright, so whatever is left on the brush, I'll just go ahead and do a rainbow shape to contour my chin. I want my chin to pop. I want it to be brought forth. So we just contour it from underneath the lips and blend it out. Now if you have thinner lips, you could always go ahead and outline your lips to make them more full. I I already have full lips, so I don't need to do this step, but if you would like more luscious lips, you can definitely incorporate that into your routine. Now I do want to show you how I contour my nose, and it's very, very important because everybody's nose shape is different. Essentially what you want is to create a bridge to your nose and to define your nostrils. So I have a flatter nose, so what I have to do is I focus starting underneath my eyebrow, the inner part of my eyebrow, and I highlight there to create the stem, and then I drag down the sides. You don't want too much product because it's going to be very hard to blend it out. So I'm just going to go like that. And then I outline literally like my nostrils to create nostrils. And that's why you drag the concealer up to the sides of your nose, because you want to highlight and contour the shades of what you want to be seen and what you want to hide. Not much product is needed. I know that you see a lot of, you know, clickbait and, you know, just with a bunch of product on their face, but essentially I'm sure they're wiping it off before they blend it out because there's nowhere to blend the product. So be mindful. A little bit goes a long way. If you need more, you can always add more. So right now I'm going to go ahead and pick up the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer, and this is in the shade Coffee. So this is about 4 shades darker than my skin tone. Now this is super pigmented and it's very, very dark. So again, follow the same tips. I'm just going to go ahead and place a few dots of this on the side of my other side of my face. Now just with the Beauty Blender, I will be blending that out, connecting the dots and blending upwards. I've created the shadows for my face. Now I'm going to go ahead and blend out my highlighter. Alright, so my face shape has been created. I'm just going to go ahead and set my face with a powder, and you can use a powder that is translucent, which is universal for everyone. That's usually what I steer towards, a universal. Otherwise I go to a yellow because I am a deeper skin tone and yellow complements well. Not too yellow, but you know what I mean, just enough yellow. And I really like super mattifying powders. You could always go with whatever you feel comfortable with, but you set underneath your eyes. Before you reset underneath your eyes, I do encourage you to reblend out underneath because you don't want any harsh lines. So I'm going to be using the Huda Beauty Blondie powder. Going to be picking up the sponge. Now this one is by Real Techniques, but I know that the Juno sponge has a similar sponge, and it's just perfect to pick up powder, and it just applies the powder heavier than a damp beauty blender would. But for me, I want to really highlight it under eye look, and I've really been loving this. So I just go ahead and set underneath my eyes. I always, like I said, I always reblend underneath my eye before I set the powder because it's going to crease. And I always like to define my nose with the powder. Just helps to carve it out more. And then get underneath your nose, like pull down and get underneath there, because it will crease. Now chin, smile line. So I don't like to bake too much because I have dry skin and I just don't need the extra dryness. So I just go ahead and set my face with the powder, and as I'm setting up my face with the powder that fits my skin tone, I'm gently brushing away the highlighted areas. And people probably think like you just go directly over the contour with a darker contour shade, but you don't. It's very important that you set your face before you deepen your contour. And this brush is magnificent. It's the 3D HD by Sigma Beauty. I really suggest you guys trying it because it just gets the nooks and crannies of your face, and it's so soft. Brushes everything away and applies perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and do my eyeshadow and liner off camera, because that's usually like how I like to do it, and then I'm going to go ahead and contour. So I'll be right back. Alright, so my eyes are all done, and now what I'm going to do now is just add warmth back to my face. So with the cream contour, you know, that really defines and sculpts your face. And then you know, we set it with the powder, and then we want to again bring warmth and depth back to the face. So what I like to use is a Fenty Beauty Mocha Mami. Now this is a bronzer that is so amazing. This is my second purchase. It's so beautiful. It is darker than my skin, provides like a red hue, and I just really love the way that it blends out onto my skin. You could use a contour palette. You could use the Anastasia Beverly Hills. They have a shade of ranges. I like the Anastasia Beverly Hills. I like the Cover FX, and I like the Black Radiance, and that one is affordable. It goes from lighter to darker. If you are one of my vanilla sisters, you might have to do something a little bit different, okay? Usually you guys can just get like a bronzer or something, and that would add depth. But it just essentially brings warmth back to your face. So what I like to use, I like to just pick up, I don't even know what this brush is called, but I've been using it for about a year, and it just really gets deep in there. And I reset my eye a little bit because I had a little bit of fallout from my shadow. But again, you're just going to go over that same place that you contoured with the cream, and then again, you're going to be blending up, not down, because we don't want to bring that line down. And copy for this one. I noticed a lot of people, like I used to like start right there with my contour and just like cut straight across. But it's all about the angles of your face and slenderizing it, creating shadows. It really is art. It really is art, you know. A lot of people like to talk about the process but love the results. No, it's art, baby. So I'm just gonna put that underneath my chin, and as you can see, it really just warmed my face back up. I'm just going to be taking this Urban Decay dual-ended brush, and I just like to get a more defined brush to really focus on my nose. And again, just retracing the parts that I'd already contoured. Very lightly again, because the nose is very hard to blend out the contour. Bronzer that I used as a contour, but it could be used as a matte bronzer as well. But what I'm going to do is actually use a different bronzer. But back in the day, I used to use a bronzer that would have a little bit of shimmer, not shimmer, but just a little bit of a sheen to it. And so I picked up this Huda Rabbit by Ciate. I don't know if that's how you say it, but it was so cute. And so what I'm gonna do with this is just soften the contour, taking my Smith Cosmetics 154 brush and just dipping into that. As you can see, it's not too shimmery. It just gave a little bit of a sheen, which is really pretty. The very last step is, well, not the second to the last step is actually highlighting with a highlighter. So I am obsessed with the So Hollywood highlighter by Anastasia Beverly Hills. If you've been following me, you know this is my overall favorite, I would say. And what you're gonna do is just apply that to the top part of your cheekbones, the tip of your nose, which is called your Tin Man, your Cupid's bow, which is over your lip, your chin, and then a little bit to your forehead. If you have a different face shape and you want to highlight certain points, I would go over my eyebrow, but for my face shape, this is what works for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up my Smith Cosmetics 103 brush, and I'm just going to highlight the top part. And you don't need too much. If you do have textured skin, I would say just to be very careful and maybe use a pressed highlighter rather than a loose one, because that's really going to bring out the texture in your skin. I usually just use the very tip of my finger and put that in my Cupid's bow. It brings out the bridge of your nose. That's why we put it at the very end. Blend that upwards and put a little bit of highlighter on the side of my nose, my nostril. So when you turn your head, there's a little bit that illuminates. With my Anastasia Beverly Hills Dewy Set Spray to keep everything in place. Guys, so that is how I highlight and contour. If you have any questions, if you need me to go in depth a little bit more, anything like that, just leave me a comment down below. I'll be sure to respond. I want us to start off and in the new year doing our makeup properly, and I'm just here to help. I love doing it. I want to hear from you, okay? So if you haven't already, go ahead and like this video if you enjoyed watching or if you learned anything, and subscribe. Stay around a while, become a part of QUELLZ crew, and I'll see you guys here in my next video.